Are they going to come back right away? Baron Herzig was surprised by the words of Roderick, who said that he would leave without even spending the night, although he must be tired after the long journey. Yes, my wife will also want to see our daughter soon. Roderick nodded and responded again. At first, he seemed gruff, but as he continued to look, she realized that joy was reflected on his face. Ah, I see. I imagine the Duchess must be very anxious. The Baron nodded with a look of complete understanding. As a father, I understood the feeling perfectly. Thank you very much for finding my daughter. He is a benefactor to our family. I am not a benefactor. I just did what I was supposed to do as a human being. It wasn't humility, it was sincerity. Baron Herzig really believed it. Helping those in difficult circumstances was a human duty. Still, there are not many people in the world who really do their duty. I really respect him. The Baron, after receiving so much praise from the Duke of Weishafen, the imperial hero he had always admired, blushed to the point of blushing. He was so blushing it looked like summer had returned. I really want to thank you. I hope you don't refuse. There's no need. When Roderick began to speak in a serious voice, Baron Herzig waved his hand, indicating that he had not asked for any reward. No, you must accept it. I suppose you don't want rumors spreading that the Duke of Weishafen was mean to his benefactor. Oh, that's true. Indeed, if that were the case, the kind Baron Herzig could not refuse. Shouldn't this tarnish the prestige of the Duke of Weishafen, the protector of the empire? Well, then, can I ask you a favor? The Baron, still blushing, touched the back of his head as if embarrassed and opened his mouth. Say what you want. I mean, I have a daughter who turned 17 this year. I am sorry that I, your father, cannot see the outside world due to my incompetence and is confined to this territory. So, I would like you to accept her as your maid, Baron Herzig said with a gentle smile. It was a proposal I had already discussed with Lisa, the person involved. There was another reason, not just the one he mentioned. It was also because of Isla, who was suddenly thrust into a new environment. Even if you were her biological parents, how difficult would it be to be left alone in an unknown place with strangers? Lisa was the first to suggest it, thinking it would be comforting to see even a familiar face there. Maid. In fact, it was not uncommon for high-ranking noble families to accept a young noblewoman as a servant and keep her company. This was especially true in poor families like Baron Herzig. If you had experience working as a maid in a famous family, you might find a good match. Of course, it would not be the case that someone with as strong a personality as the Baron would accept his daughter as a servant based on such calculations, but it was not a bad proposal that would benefit both the Baron and the Duke. There was Laura, who had been hired as Isla's servant, but it wouldn't have hurt to have at least one more noble person to talk to. Then let's do it. Although he was worried about making a decision without consulting his wife, after experiencing Lisa's personality, which was the same as the Baron, she would understand why Roderick made that decision. The matter was resolved so quickly. Roderick and Isla would return first, and Lisa would follow after preparing to leave. Since he had come on horseback, he had no choice but to borrow the Baron's carriage to return. Are you sure you're okay, Your Excellency? Please wait, and then take the Duke's carriage. The carriage was too dilapidated for a Duke to ride in, so the Baron shifted, not knowing what to do. No problem. I have to go back quickly. Roderick shrugged, as if nothing had happened, having seen worse things on the battlefield. Of course, he couldn't tolerate the benefactor who had helped him find his daughter traveling in such an uncomfortable carriage, so he planned to send him back in a much better one. See you later, Lisa. Yes, Princess. And, on the other hand, the girls said goodbye and looked forward to the future. The title was completely opposite from when they met. Isla had memories of her past life, so it wasn't uncomfortable at all, but Lisa felt the same way. Strangely enough, it was as if he had instinctively known from the beginning that Isla was the lady he was meant to serve. I found Isla. Let's go back together. Ophelia ran her finger over the message from her husband, engraved on the paper. Incredulous, she reread it several times, but the content remained the same. Isla returns home. After 11 years and 10 months. Just as he promised, he would definitely return to her side. It would take a long time to travel here from the Herzig estate, far from the capital, but Ophelia felt that she would soon be reunited with her long-awaited daughter. Have you called, ma'am? While she was checking her husband's messages over and over again, the butler who had answered her call came to see her. Ophelia opened her mouth, trying to calm her voice, which was trembling with pleasant emotion. I have something to prepare urgently. What is it? Please ask me. I need to decorate my daughter's room. Isla, so please have it ready in a few days. At first, the butler seemed stunned by the lady's words, unable to understand her instructions. The same thing happened to Ophelia. The words came from her own mouth, but she was equally bewildered. And after a while, surprise and joy began to spread across the butler's face at the same time. So, Your Excellency, what happened when you came down here? This time he did come to look for the lady. The butler's eyes reddened as he said, It's very lucky. He was one of the few who knew that Roderick's departure was to verify the clue that Isla had been found. But the reason for his surprise was that he didn't expect much. Thanks to the countless false reports he had received, he assumed it would be the same this time. Yes, that's how it is. So we have to prepare what is necessary. Little by little we can prepare the rest. Ophelia was unable to give her daughter a guest room when she returned home after almost 12 years, nor the one she used when she was 2 years old. This was because, following her instructions, she left her as she was 12 years ago, worried that any trace of her daughter would disappear. So, in that room, there was still a crib and toys for the children to play with. As time passed, it was time to fill the faded nursery with the belongings of a young teenager. Yes, I will, ma'am. Oh, and if the young woman wants to see her old room, would it be okay for her to leave it as is and decorate another one? The butler asked in a slightly excited voice. Even though Isla didn't remember being 2, she wanted to show her how much she was missed. Yes, that wouldn't be bad either. I would like a room with a nice view, please. Ophelia nodded and smiled with satisfaction. Overjoyed to have her daughter back, she felt like she could gladly accept anything they said. Yes, then I say goodbye. The butler, who suddenly had a lot of work, said goodbye as he left. And Ophelia gave another task to the butler, who already had a lot to do. Oh, could you call Laura on the way? Do you mean Laura? Yes, I understand. Although she had only been working at the dukedom for a short time, Laura was honest and trustworthy, having earned the trust of not only Ophelia, but also the other employees. From the moment he hired her, he had planned to leave Isla in his care upon his return. So he thought it would be best to give Laura advance notice before his arrival. Wouldn't Laura be nervous if she were suddenly ordered to change positions? And soon after, Laura came to look for her with a slightly nervous expression. Of course, I wasn't really nervous, it was just a fake expression. She had already heard that Isla would soon be sent to the Duke's residence, so she knew that the day would soon come when the Duchess would call her separately. Did you call, ma'am? Sit here, Laura. Laura sat on the couch as Ophelia had instructed and gave him the most polite expression she could muster. And well with work? Is it difficult for you to adapt? Yes, ma'am. Luckily, everyone has been so kind to me, so I'm calm. Although Laura thought to herself, let's get to the point and stop wasting time with useless greetings, she responded in a kind voice. You said you were serving the Marquis' daughter in your old house. Your duties have completely changed. Don't you feel uncomfortable? It's uncomfortable, but it's a lot of fun to learn new things. Laura smiled shyly, hiding her dark feelings, and waved her palm. He could clearly see that Ophelia was slowly getting closer to the topic she wanted, so how could he not laugh? Still, wouldn't it be great if you could do something you already know? In fact, I found our lost daughter. I thought you would be of great help. Really? Congratulations, lady. Of course, if you allow me, I will do everything I can to help the young woman. Laura covered her mouth and smiled brightly as she congratulated her. However, behind his smile hid a terrible plan. That girl will lead you to ruin.